Hello, I'm Sean Rushworth, and I'm a student occupational therapist at Sheffield Hallam University. I'm in my third year, and I'm on placement currently with Sheffield Cycling for All in Sports for Confidence. Today's presentation will just be a brief overlook of Sheffield Cycling for All, what they provide, and an introduction to the brain injury specific cycling group, which we are hoping to set up in April of 2022. So with Sheffield Cycling for All, what they provide is a really wide array of different cycles for very different needs. So a really clear example of this lowrider trike here at the top left. This is one that could be used by someone maybe with confidence issues. They've never really ridden a bike. It could be for someone with balance and proprioception issues. Someone might struggle to realize where the body is in terms of their environment. So it keeps them low to the ground. It's a lot more steady. They're sat down and it's in a recumbent position, so it's a lot more relaxed, and it provides less stress on the joints on top of all the other benefits. Another clear example of how Sheffield Cycling for All cater for different needs is at the top right with wheelchair bike here. With this bike, there's a platform which comes down, and on the back there can be a carer who can ride, and on the front there is a service user who's wheelchair bound or may struggle to transfer onto a trike themselves, who can engage in cycling in a safe manner. So they would just sit on the platform here, and the carer would ride. And then another really good example is for someone who might have lower limb impairments in regards to, they might not be able to fully engage their legs, or someone who's paralyzed from the waist down. This is a hand cycle, and the aim of the hand cycle is the hands would go here and they actually cycle as opposed to the feet. So it's really good for engaged people who are paralyzed or have lower limb disabilities. We move on to just more broad, so the same sort of style of the hand cycle here, and then an easy rider is similar to the low rider trike. It's just a little bit nicer than a two-wheeler. That it's very taxing on someone with a disability. These are perfect for people with brain injuries, as they might struggle with balance, or they might struggle with actually being in a wheelchair. There's really good examples of here the side-by-sides. So a carer would ride alongside a participant or a cyclist, and it's just a lot safer, and you can grade it. You can make it so the cyclist does more, does less. It just allows them to engage just as much with less risk, essentially. So alongside cycling being really inclusive, and the specific cycles that we've got being really good for people with really different needs, cycling is COVID safe. It's outdoors, and generally, as you can see here, you don't really get very close to people unless you're on a side-by-side, which more than likely you will be with a carer if someone with a brain injury came and they decided to use a side-by-side. So it's COVID safe, and it's really inclusive. On top of that, it provides a numerous amount of physical activity benefits. So some really clear ones are the diabetes. So type 2 diabetes reductions up to 40%. A really good one for brain injuries would be the falls and depression. They can be reduced by up to 30%. And then there's really good ones such as cancer. So engaging in cycling, which comes under physical activity, provides a lot of benefits for adults and older adults, and those are just some of them. On top of that as well, the government guidance regarding physical activity are also met with Sheffield Cycling for All sessions. So the government recommends at least 150 minutes of moderate intensity exercise per week. Moderate intensity exercise is cycling. Cycling is that sort of exercise. So using that, the Sheffield Cycling for All sessions are around 60 minutes. So if someone was to come 3 times a week, they would fully get their physical activity guidance for adults. So I mean, the positives there are clear. Someone coming to cycling 3 times a week would get their minimum amount of exercise a week. So we're based at Hillgrove Park, and that's on Monday through Thursday. And what we want to do essentially is introduce specific disability groups so that people have a specific community, that they have similar experiences and they share experiences. We're based down near the basketball courts, next to Peninsula Road, which is the car park at the bottom. If you see 2 big containers with pictures of bikes all over them, that's us. Come straight over. So the group that we are setting up is the acquired brain injury group, and specifically the vision is to develop a brain injury specific group where people who suffer from brain injuries can have a space to engage in cycling. Really important here is the first session's free. So if a participant comes and they don't enjoy it, that's fine. The first session was free. They've not lost anything. They've had that experience. They might not like it, but if they do, it's only £4 after that, and that can be adjusted if personal financial circumstances need that, so it can be lowered if necessary. So the group will be service user led, and the idea is people with similar experiences, so with brain injuries, come together and they have a specific community of cyclists that, you know, they can develop a little bit of a social connection with. They have the chance to develop more than just strength and stamina through exercise. They can develop friendships and hopefully friendships. First session will be the 20th of April, and that would be from 1:30 to 3:30. If it lets me change my next slide. So, I mean, more specific for brain injuries and the benefits of brain injuries, some really good ones are it's low impact, and the active participation in cycling can increase strength and stamina, which is generally sometimes, if you're on a rehab ward for a brain injury, it's quite a goal for some of the physios. So, I mean, it sort of partners those goals that are recommended by physios. On top of that, Vendor et al. 2021 found that cycling provided benefits to memory, processing speed for people with traumatic brain injuries, which just sort of pushes the idea of engaging cycling is really good for cognition, which improves with engagement. And yeah, as it says at the bottom here, exercise and activity like cycling helps promote cognitive functioning, which encompasses things like planning and organising and problem solving. These are wonderful images here. I love these images. These are fantastic. Really good thing about cycling is it's social, and it can help develop independence. But more importantly, to me anyway, as an occupational therapy student, it's fun and it's meaningful. People who come to cycling groups usually find it meaningful. They engage with it because it's fun. It's quite a concentrated activity. You need to sort of spend time in it, and that, to some participants that I've found, they find that really fun and engaging. It gives a massive positive impact on their life. It's not just physical, it's mental, on top of, you know, all the physical benefits. You get the idea of socializing and the development of skills, all these different things. It all encompasses just a more meaningful life. You know, if someone came and engaged, they might have just 60 minutes of just really fun activity. Here's some really brief mental health benefits. Regular exercise like cycling reduces the stress hormones such as cortisol. This is linked with reductions in risks of developing illnesses, and it makes you more happy. If you're less stressed, you're more happy. Really good one is during cycling and exercise, the body releases endorphins. These are natural feel-good hormones, which also serve as painkillers. They essentially make you feel better. They make you feel more confident, make you feel a bit more happier, increases self-esteem and efficacy. And finally, cycling is a really concentrated activity. So it allows people to engage in something called flow, which is a concept where you're really in your activity. It's really hard to describe unless you're in it. But essentially, it reduces sort of the impacts of exterior influences, such as stress at home or anxiety and things like that, because it's such a concentrated activity. You put all your effort onto it, and it just allows you to really zone in on what you're doing right now. Really meaningful, really mindful activity. And final point, if someone engages in the cycling group and they find it really beneficial and they feel, okay, I want to do this at home, there's a scheme with Cycling for All, which is a 3-month scheme, and it is a trike loan scheme. So if someone feels like engaging at home as opposed to just in the park, the Hillsborough Park, they can have a chat with the Cycling for All staff, and, you know, they can organise a trike loan which they can take home, and then they have that and they can engage in cycling as they will. If they want to engage it at home, they can, which is a really good benefit if someone they want to get into it more, they find it that meaningful, they want to do it more. So that's a really good initiative that Sheffield Cycling for All provide. And then finally, we've got our contact details. So if you feel like contacting us about any questions, anything like that, please do, because we are welcome and we want you to. And here's just a final lovely image. Lovely, fantastic stuff.